All right, we are live streaming, and Mark had last minute business, so you are deprived of his services this evening, and you'll have to make do with myself. So as is tradition for the opening, we do the motto of the social ethic by Rudolf Steiner. The healing social life is found when in the mirror of each human soul, the whole community finds its reflection, and when in the community, the virtue of each one is living. And as is Zoom tradition, we skip the song and move directly on to excitement sharing. And I can say that mine is after a long and arduous and very up and down process. I fly out tomorrow to help move my elderly father into senior housing up here in Alaska. And so that is something, yeah, that's definitely something to be excited about having figured out for a lot of time.
My excitement sharing is my husband's been gone for a few weeks helping his mother and sister, and he's home now as of last night, middle of the night. And so that's nice, just have him home. And we were celebrating the first anniversary, or the, gosh, I don't know, 38th anniversary of our first date tomorrow during Lantern Walk. So I'm sure that's what he would most prefer. No, he'll probably be there.
Congratulations, Julie, on that anniversary. In keeping with this theme, I'm excited that my husband and older daughter got back from a 2.5-week trip to the lower 48 to help my in-laws move from their winter residence in northern Michigan to their rest of the year. Well, it's their summer residence to their winter residence with my sister-in-law in New York. And so it was a cross-country journey, and they had a lot of fun, visited a lot of relatives on the way, and are now back. And really grateful that I have assistant walkers and school drivers and all the other things that makes a household run, especially when it's in the single digits outside. So grateful to have them.
I am super excited for the Lantern Walk tomorrow. I'm like, I love it every year. It's so much fun. I like it.
We are heading out Saturday morning after Lantern Walk to a ski-in cabin for a few days. So I'm excited about that. And I'm very excited that there was an actual substitute teacher for my class on Monday that wasn't you. So Emily Becker will have them.
I'm also excited for Lantern Walk. And I just found out a good friend of mine is coming up for Thanksgiving.
Well, all right. It says approval of minutes. I didn't happen to see any come my direction before this meeting. Do you happen to have any, Julie?
I don't, but Molly does. And Molly, I'll get you to.
I do have the minutes. I'm sorry. I thought I sent them. I didn't send them to everyone after last meeting.
You may have. I apologize. Yeah, I wasn't there for that one.
Let's see. I sent them out asking if you preferred them in the format I sent, which is a Word document with everything run together, or in Google Drive. Sorry, just give me a minute to get this up. Okay, I have them. Do I have sharing power, Julie?
I gave you the power.
There we go. Oh, I said I need the principal report and faculty report. Let me know if I go too fast.
Oh, it's great.
The budget report is attached. So I made myself a note up top before I finalize them that I need the principal report and faculty.
Okay, can I have a motion and a second to approve those minutes? Thank you so much, Molly. I apologize.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
This is Sarah. I'll second.
All in favor, twinkle. Great. And so for approval of agenda, since there is an amendment to make, I would, well, I guess I'm hosting this one, so I don't know if I can make the motion, but I think a motion should be made to move the business items of 2021-22 calendar items and budget approval. Well, I guess only budget approval really needs to be moved up, right? Because it's the only thing being voted
And
on.
budget, yeah, and budget report. So we want to see the
Okay.
report first and then approval.
Okay, all right. So it should be moved under perhaps budget report item? Or do we want to move both budget report and approval up to before all other informational reports?
Let's probably move it all the way up, just
Okay,
for timing's sake.
all right. So can someone please move that item D, the budget report, and then also under business, the budget approval be moved up between community comments and informational reports?
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we amend the agenda to move the budget report and budget approval before the administrator's report.
I'll second.
Thank you, Sarah and Paula. All right, cool. Now that it's officially there, someone can motion to accept the agenda as amended, and then somebody second that.
I move to approve the agenda as amended.
This is Shane. I'll second.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So then we can pop on to community comments. Please note, this is the public's time to talk and the board's time to listen. Winterberry Charter Council does not hear complaints against students or personnel in public session. It is not the board's practice to engage in discussion or to answer questions during community comments. Commenters' names will be recorded in the minutes. With that formality, I don't believe we have anybody.
I have a community comment.
Oh, absolutely.
I wanted to honor someone in the Winterberry community who died unexpectedly last week. Michael Martin and his wife were one of the founding couples of Winterberry, and their sons, Jack, Finley, and Kelly. The kids are around 25, 21, 19. They were very instrumental in Winterberry being in existence, and my heart's with them. And it made me think about how there are a handful of people from our community who have died, and there are, in the not too distant future, there won't be anyone at Winterberry who knew them. And that makes me really sad. Nicholas Sims was a curly-headed second grader who died, and we have the planter boxes outside third grade are in his honor. Suzanne Drennan was a beloved teacher, just a born Waldorf teacher, who died, and there's a bench on the east side of the building in her honor. And also the maypole, our tradition of the maypole, while she didn't invent it, she really got it started at Winterberry, or got it inspired. And Owen, who was the child of two of our founding teachers, was kind of the Winterberry baby. And he was the first baby that some of the children at Winterberry really got to hold and be close to. And the fourth graders used to take turns holding him while his mom somehow taught 25 fourth graders how to play violin. And then Jane Reiner she was a longtime music teacher and came to Winterberry as a classroom teacher. She was my daughter's classroom teacher, and she died in the middle of second grade, my daughter's second grade year. And the Orff instruments, all the xylophones that we have at school, most of those were purchased in her honor. So while we do have some things that were done in memorial to these important people, and I know this isn't a beginning of a discussion, but I'd like at some point for us to think about a way to more permanently memorialize these important people, even if it's a binder where we put their photo and we make sure their story is told. And so I'm just, my heart's just is with the Martins tonight. They had a lantern walk in his honor, a vigil for him last night. And they realized some of the extended family didn't know about Lantern Walk. And as they looked it up, they realized that Martinmas was the exact day that Michael died, November 11th. And it was a special walk last night in his honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate that. That is a discussion should be had in the future. I'd like to be more tied to the roots of things as well. So in interest of time, we'll move on to budget report and budget approval.
Okay, Julie, would you be able to pull up? Thank you. And I did send out my budget report to everybody, so everybody could look at it. You'll see the pie graph with the breakdown of the budget, as well as my report, and then the breakdown that gets sent to ASD budget. So to begin, go ahead.
Which one do you want first? Do you want the budget report or the pie graph?
Show the pie graph. That way, when I go through the report, it'll make sense. Okay. And I'll go through the report and read it, and then they can just look at the pie graph. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. So this is our fiscal year 23 budget. In the pie graph, you'll compare it to the fiscal year 22, which is what we currently have. So you can see where we're at as far as the differences. Our fiscal year 23 budget projections was $2,820,360. That was projected based on an estimate that was determined to be about 240 ADM, which is the average daily membership. Again, this is all just projection based on what we're anticipating or hoping enrollment will be for next year. You'll notice that it is a decrease from the fiscal year 22 budget projection. Again, this is still the projection. We haven't got the final numbers for 22, but it is a decreased projection of 187,699. And you will notice when you compare, you'll see that in the increases from the fiscal year 22 and 23, you'll see an increase in salaries. Our salaries have increased due to it just happens every year, but we did reduce in staffing by 1.5 FTE, which is full-time employees, on the budget. We reduced it. We reduced one sped TA on the general budget. We're going to look at hiring using CARES fund, another sped TA. Reduced our teacher by a 0.5, so a half, a part-time teacher, which is our pedagogical support. The position has been unfilled for the last 2 years due to being on leave. Its potential will reevaluate when additional funds become available or in the future. But this is unfortunately what we had to do to make things work this year for next year. You will see an increase all as well as far as due to faculty and staff salary steps increase and an estimated contract wage increase. So the teachers this year currently and for next year don't have a contract yet, but when it comes to budget and ASD budgeting, they are predicting the increase, not only the step, but also an increase in salary as it has been in the past. So that's where we're anticipating it. You will notice a decrease in the budget differences from fiscal year 22 to 23 due to the reduction in the one full-time employee. That's the reduction you see and why. You'll see the building costs have decreased slightly. And that's more to just when we're budgeting, more to me being able to get more of an accurate estimate for our utilities costs. I have more months, more years behind for me to get a handle on what our true utilities costs are. Our supplies costs, you'll see, has decreased.
Sorry,
Unfortunately-
Shana.
Go
Shana,
ahead.
I don't think we're seeing what you're talking about because we're seeing the very top of the December 2021 budget report. Are we supposed to be seeing the pie graph right now?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can't see the pie graph.
Good.
We're seeing the
That's good information. Hold on for a
Sorry.
second.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm just reading. Yeah.
Okay.
We need to see the pie graph. So sorry.
Okay. Hold on for a second. Okay, good times.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you for stopping me. There's the pie graph.
thank you.
Mhm. So here down below is the total, the total budget, and then she's going through the different numbers up here.
Yep. The fiscal year 22 and then fiscal year 23 on each side, and then the breakdown of each. Here, I'll finish this and then all your questions will go through it again. Okay. Does that help? The supply costs decreased. You'll see because we reduced the contract services and travel expenses. Student supplies from fiscal year 22 was used as a placeholder, which is why it's so much higher. But that wasn't the actual amount what we budgeted for, but that's just where we used our placehold. Unfortunately, this is also the only area that we are not fixed. So everything else in our budget is fixed costs. This is the only thing that we can either put in or take out in order to make our budget balance. You will also see the increase in liability costs, which is our insurance. Our fiscal year 22 was budgeted for $15,000. And you'll notice that the fiscal year 23 is budgeted at $28,000. However, that is budgeted due to the fact that that is what we're currently paying now. We budgeted $15,000 last year. Unfortunately, we got a bill for this current year for $28,000. I'm predicting that, or even potentially another increase. It's been jumping a couple thousand per year. So like I said, it's just the budget for our current costs. We may see an increase in costs again. So I'm assuming you might have questions. And like I said, I did send it out to everybody yesterday, hoping that, and I'm sure you guys are very busy, but hoping that you would be able to look over some of it.
So thank you, Sheena. Could you maybe summarize it? Like if you had to, walk into an elevator and spend a minute with a person and say, hey, this is the budget situation at Winterberry, compared to last year, like what are the highlights that you would tell that person?
Basically, last year I was giving a little over $3 million budget. This year I'm getting a 2.8 million. So we've decreased our budget by about 200,000, and we've had to figure out where it's coming from, where we're going to make adjustments with the increase of everybody, all of our salaries increase every year, but we're still on a flat funding. Our numbers are down as far as our student count, unfortunately. Our numbers are down, which is what pays for everything. So we're crunching everything. And we're just going to see our belts are going to be a little tighter this year than we have in the last couple of years. I'm hopeful that it's going to go back and we're going to start seeing our enrollment go back up. But we're just tightening our belts right now. But the positive is that's why we have those extra 800,000 in 800, I think 20 something thousand in our savings, because this was predicted.
Shayna, you mentioned that we still had some CARES money, and I'm wondering if that is something that's reflected on this.
It is not. Our CARES money is through a completely different account. Those are things that we've already been determined but haven't been utilized yet. This is just our general budget, what they establish for us every year. So like when we're talking about additional tutoring, not part of this budget. When we're talking about additional TA services, not part. Additional subs that we're going to use, not part. Because not only are those temporary because of their just CARES, it's a grant. It's completely different funds. This is just our general budget, our general funding.
And I apologize if I missed this when you were talking, Shayna, but it looks to me like the biggest, spread here was between that office teacher supplies. What was the biggest difference there that made it jump so astronomically there?
So it's not that it jumped. Our teacher supplies, we use it as a placeholder. We either put it there or we put it in an unallocated account, but that's where they put it this year or last year, the current year, the 200 and something thousand. So it's not that we budgeted more. It's just that's where we held it. Because when we put it in that place, we can transfer it from there to a salary to anywhere very easily. So typically, we never use that much in supplies. I would say a normal year we use about $50,000 in teacher and student supplies, not the 200 and almost 250. It's just for placeholder. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
And Sheena, could you also mention the enrollment again? Like the enrollment is down by how many students?
So we predicted the 200. So this is based on our prediction of 240. The
50.
budget for the 3 million that we have for the current year is based on the 250 that we're hopeful for. Unfortunately, enrollment right now, they haven't told me exact, but I believe it was at 233. Is that correct, Julie?
That we have currently 230. I think it's 230. I think we're.
Is it
I think
230?
I think we're down 20 from our 250 projection for 22.
So we're down. Yes.
We're down 20 students from when we built this budget last year. We built it on the projection of 250, and we have 230, maybe 230.
But they still haven't finalized. Although OASIS is done and all the count is done, they still haven't given us their final determination, which usually is we have it by now, but I don't have it yet.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I grasp what I'm looking at. Hopefully there's, something that can be done about the count in the coming year to surpass this, but it is a workable budget. And and I really, really appreciate the work done on it. If somebody wants to make the motion to approve it, I think in this particular instance, because it is kind of official business, if we can actually get verbal yeses from everybody to vote on it once somebody has moved and once somebody has seconded, I think that would probably be best.
I'll make a motion to approve this budget.
I second it. This is Nick.
Okay, and I will cast first vote. Peter, yes. Approve.
This is Shayna. I also approve.
This is Sarah. I approve.
This is Nick.
This is
I
Sue.
approve. Oops, sorry.
This is Sue. I approve. That's okay. Nick and Sue say yes.
This is Paul. I approve.
Okay. Well, there you have it. And I know, Sarah, you have a full evening, so feel free. I don't think we have any more official business. So we can move on to the other informational reports. And first up, as usual, is administrator's report from Julie.
All right. One moment, please. This is- What do you guys see? Do you see my report? Because
We see one little corner of the report.
maybe it's over here. Okay. Have my together here. Let's see. Where are you? Oh, principal's report. Okay, I'm going to close these. Hmm. Right. One moment, please. I'm going to stop share, find my it's all been so simple to date. Let's see here.
If needed, I'm also totally open for a fully verbal report.
Okay, I got it now. I'm just going to see if I can make it come to life here on Technicolor. One more time here. Okay, come on.
Heyo.
There we go. All right. Winterberry's mission, growing the innate potential of each child. Winterberry's vision, to receive the children in reverence, educate them in love, and send them forth in freedom. In the heart realm, more gratitude for the staff meals that come to our table every Thursday. They're abundant, delicious, nutritious, and we're very grateful for them. We had a really informative community noon Zoom on the 10th of this month with Robert Brown, who is a curative educator. Waldorf education is, in Steiner education circles is known as a healing or curative form of education. And she came on Zoom with our whole Winterberry community to instruct about what curative education was about, and to give the greater community a little taste of that. And then anyway, and then she came the next day to our faculty and staff for a professional development. And anyway, I'll talk about that in a minute. And I wanted to just continue to encourage all families to read the newsletter each week, except for today, because Miss Colleen, who is the center post of so many things here, does the newsletter, puts it live, and she is gone this week. So we are missing her and the newsletter this week. But most weeks we have a newsletter, and that's where all the upcoming dates and all kinds of great information and pictures about what's happening in the classes are. So please tune into that. Again, just echoing what Molly said in her community comments about Michael Martin, part of the Simpson Martin family, who died unexpectedly last week. It's a great loss to his family, his children, and everyone who knew him. Hands. Ongoing need for subs. There's a district-wide shortage, but for some reason, things are shaking loose a little bit because we've had more subs come in lately and really great ones. So we're making our new cool sub list, and there's a couple of parents that have signed up, and it's just a joy to have everybody helping out. Some beautiful lantern making is happening through our school this last couple of weeks, and great help from upper grades helping our K-5 students with their lanterns and remembering how fun that was for them. Lantern walk is tomorrow. Please arrive no later than 6:15 because we are going to get started by 6:30 and wrap up. Keep moving and then finish up, and please dress warmly. And I would even say things, just something warm on your faces, because I've been noticing that that's the one thing that gets really cold outside for me, even with really warm clothes. In our head realm of head, heart, and hands, our professional development that next day with our curative educator, Robin Brown. She had us all on a Zoom meeting. We did tumbling and walking on balance beams and bouncing on little trampolines and all kinds of ways, moving and being aware of the effects that has on children and the positive effects it has on children, and taking in this great information that we have pretty much all put into play this week as we reflected on her visit in our staff meeting today. So it was a great success to have her. And then after the 2 days after that, she held private Zoom meetings with our faculty and staff members who requested that, and parents that requested time with her. So we had a really great opportunity in that, and we will welcome her back again as soon as she's available. Our world language this quarter is Spanish, and that's, with Senora Fuller. She started the year with German, and now in this quarter we are in Espanol, and then the next quarter will be in French, and then a review at the end. Our open house date was moved to the spring semester. And we'll look forward to that and welcoming families into our building to showcase all the things that we do here. Budget, just a comment about that, was a challenge this year with the unknown costs regarding the AEA contract. And, things that are, our student count that's down a little, trying to reflect on how to remedy that. And it is not, charter schools, I'm in a charter school principals collaborative group, and all charter schools except for the homeschool groups are feeling that the loss of students this year. And for us, we also not only just have kind of less in our numbers, our wait lists are non-existent, which I was looking at some numbers in the past, and we've had as high as 600 students on our kindergarten wait list in the past, and we have 0 now. So something is happening, and we're asking all the questions as charter school principals and as kind of a district, looking at the shifts in homeschooling to other kinds of, I don't know. I don't have a good sense of why yet, but in my next item here, I would like to develop some promotional material for Winterberry to showcase our school, maybe a radio ad, maybe some kind of video sequence or something that we can put on our website and then push out to our on our Facebook page and things like that, that people can pass around and just showcase the school and what we do here and how that happens, because really, like Shana was reflecting, our core budget numbers come from the numbers in our school. That's where we get the money that we have to work with. And our CARES Act money is wonderful, kind of a breath in of some funds to do some things with for the next couple of years, and then that will disappear, and then we'll be left with our core budget. And so I think it's really important to be, and our core budget comes from students. So having our students, having our classrooms full and our hybrid program thriving, all those things bring in funds for our school to work, to do the things that we do. I just hired a general ed tutor who will be working with our students in our classrooms that are general ed students versus our students with IEPs, special education elements. I still have open our TA positions and our counselor position. So 3-body meeting possible date. I just thought I'd throw out a possible date because we've kind of been talking about it in different meetings and we haven't come to anything. And I think a possibility would be February 18th. That's a professional development day for teachers, which would mean they could be on deck and paid for that day, which would make them happy and present. And then we can, get as many members of WPG, WCC in that conversation as well. So we can start to develop our agenda for that and go from there. Been reading this little Riddlesteiner verse. I'll continue that. We must eradicate from the soul all fear and terror of what comes toward us out of the future. We must acquire serenity in all feelings and sensibilities concerning the future. We must look forward with absolute equanimity to all that may come, and we must think only that whatever comes is given to us by a world direction full of wisdom. It is part of what we must learn in this age, namely to live out of pure trust without any security in existence. Trust in the ever-present help of the spiritual world. Truly nothing else will do if our courage is not to fail us. Let us discipline our will and let us seek the awakening from within ourselves every morning and every evening. Any questions?
Julie, I had a question. You were talking about promotional materials, and I think I recall that we had somebody take little video clips and was going to edit.
Yeah.
I think Lelia has something.
Yeah, it's Lelia.
Okay.
And they're not a parent here anymore.
No, but
We got connections. We can get her.
We'll show.
Mhm.
And there wasn't something since then?
Not that I know.
Okay.
Any other thoughts or questions or
Nick?
suggestions? And if things do come to mind, please, come and talk to me, email me.
Julie, this is Sue. How does just if people ask, how does one go about getting the tutoring services from regular ed?
Teacher referral.
Okay.
Nick asked what the dollar amount associated with each enrolled student is.
It changes, and I don't know, Shana probably has that like off the top of her head. I think, Shana, are you there? She has her hand.
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I didn't hear the question.
How much is associated with every student, dollar wise?
Roughly about, I'm trying to remember because it changes throughout based on our count. I want to say around 13,500, 14,000 per student.
Mhm.
Well, okay. Not hearing
Nick-
other things.
No,
Oh,
Nick
go
has a
ahead.
question there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mhm.
So as far as the enrollment goes, is every class and every teacher feeling it, or is there a certain grade range that there's less students that are coming in compared to others? Is it more the newer ones that are just starting out, or is it older? I mean, is it across the board, or?
Strangely, this year, whereas usually our kindergarten, first, second, third, everybody's filled up till about sixth grade, when parents oftentimes are considering their children going to a middle school, or Stellar or Polaris or something like that. And that's when we see attrition often, or not often, but occasionally, if we are going to see that. But this year we were still filling seats up until, I don't know, a few weeks ago. I mean, and because the lottery rolls people, and every 48 hours, if somebody, their name will come up, they'll get called, they want to come in and take a tour. But that usually happens, I mean, that all typically, the lottery happens in February. So usually, it has rolled and people have said, yes. I mean, things fill up, and kindergarten isn't even filled, I don't think, which is almost the end. I don't think
No,
ever
yeah,
happened.
kindergarten only has 19 this year, which is the first time it's ever
Ever.
been that way.
Well, okay.
And I don't, why? Because kindergarten, my gosh, like I said, I was just looking at, I think 2017 or whatever, there was 603 on the wait list for kindergarten after a totally filled kindergarten.
Well, and we're not the only school like this, though. It's,
Yeah.
from what I've been told, is every charter school is feeling it just like we are. Unfortunately, they started feeling it last year, or we haven't actually felt it till this year.
Yeah. We, I think I said, we talked about this last meeting. We only had one student leave because they didn't want to do online anything last year. So we retained all of our students, versus another charter school who lost 100 of their students last year. So, hard to.
Now, is this just charters? Oh, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, is this just, I mean, charter schools in general, or is this just the ASD altogether? I mean, is this something more of pandemic related and just things going on within the district itself? Or is this, I mean, to me, that's what would make the most sense. So I think that it would be ASD wide, not just charter schools.
Yes, it's ASD wide. They have the component of ASD virtual. So there's been families that have continued to stay home and just do ASD virtual with their students. There has been a huge rush to our charter homeschool programs. They've grown from, I think there was like 500 or 600 students 2 years ago to 1,200. They capped it, I think, at 1,200 last year, because it would just exploded. Everybody was going to Family Partnership and Frontier, which are Anchorage School District charter schools. And then all the other state-run charter schools, Raven and, gosh, I can't even, anyhow. There's, so the move to homeschool children, there's a huge shift in education, in people questioning what they're doing, what they're choosing. And so I think on the positive side, it's a great opportunity for us to really pull in a great condensed view, maybe video wise, of what we do, maybe radio advertisement, and then invite families to come and see what our school is like, and have conversations with me, and start to build up the understanding of what Waldorf education is, what we offer that's different than outside in the district.
I just wanted to ask how families typically learn of us now, just because I know for me, it was word of mouth. And so I don't actually know how most families end up coming our direction.
Well, I think maybe I'd venture to say, and when I ask people, how did you find out about, or how did you learn about Winterberry in our Tuesday tours, they say, oh, I just saw the, optional or, charter or alternative schools. And I knew my child was not going to be very good with, my neighborhood school. So I put in for, 5 alternative schools, and now I'm touring them and seeing what looks, what seems to work. And there's a lot of word of mouth also, but really when parents come here and they see taking a tour, and then we have conversations around what Waldorf education is, many parents, that's the aha, or not even the aha, but like they come in and they love the environment, they get a feeling for the environment, and then they ask all the questions that they need to confirm that feeling, just from more of a head standpoint as far as academics and rigor and ability for a child to move out of here and into a successful high school career and college or wherever they're destined vocational. So I think that's kind of, in my years of watching families, that's how the bulk of people have come to us, just by checking the box. And many don't even really don't know anything about Waldorf education.
Julie, this is Sue. Did you have a lot of families with those youngers asking to do like older kids for as like 6-year-olds as kindergartners, or I'm just wondering if parents had those preschoolers or those maybe kindergartners that didn't get maybe a preschool or kindergarten experience. Did you have any that wanted to come into kindergarten or first grade as a slightly older kiddo?
This year? Are you talking about this year?
Yes. Yeah. Since last year was,
Mhm.
virtual and kind of, some kids that might have gone to a traditional might
Yeah.
have gone to preschool or kindergarten.
Yeah. I mean, our kindergarten last year was virtual also. So
Mhm.
for most of it, until March. And I think all of those children went into first grade. So of our, subset, so I don't know.
Okay.
I think that all the children that are in kindergarten this year are just age eligible. I don't think any of them are older, like the parents did and whatever. It doesn't seem that way anyway. When I get to know the group, they all seem young, like first. And if anything, everyone feels that there's just that people aren't even necessarily waiting, but they're feeling the loss of those years in school. And so teachers are adjusting, and luckily our teachers, because they have the same students for all these years, can make those adjustments. They're not just, getting them ready and sending them to the next level of teacher. They're adjusting their curriculum, adjusting their expectations, and working with those students to foundationalize their learning, so that as they, and believing that they're going to be catching up in the next few years, because it's been a giant impact in all children's lives.
And I just have one more question for the kid, because I remember maybe the year before the pandemic, that I think the kindergarten was, it's always been, since I've started, like very sibling heavy. Are these siblings that are in kindergarten? Or are these like brand new families coming in?
It's the same. There's usually about, anywhere from 10 to 12 or 13 siblings. And and I, like, off the top of my head, I don't know. But I know that we fill up the kindergarten, we fill in those siblings first, and then we start filling in And even with that, I mean, the kindergarten actually is the most shocking when you think about it.
Yeah, that is shocking.
Because it's, you know, the alternative is Anchorage Waldorf, and for tuition, tuition payment to be in kindergarten and all that, and still with that, and also just entering a new program, kindergarten, you know, it's very unusual, like extremely unusual, and all of the classes. I mean, we like I said, we were welcoming new students to first grade, second grade in the last few weeks, which that they use teachers especially in the lower grades usually have a fixed list by the time they enter their contract in August. Occasionally they'll welcome another child, or, you know, somebody who's the last person on the list or something, but nothing at all like this year. Yep, Nick.
What is the best way to have someone reach out to you guys to get on this lottery? So if I were to, friends of mine that have kids that maybe aren't happy with, you know, their current situation or different things, what is the best way for them to reach out to you guys to take a tour and different things?
I would say tour wise, front desk, just call the main number, not this week, but next week when Colleen gets back, and make an appointment. Whereas some schools do Tuesday tours in January, Winterberry Charter School for the last many years, I mean, probably 3 years, at least 4, because I've been doing them, has been doing Tuesday tours any Tuesday of the entire year. So any Tuesday from 9 to 10, I am, you know, I'll have a few people in the lobby to tour around the school. And because I feel like when people are thinking about Winterberry, I don't want them to wait until January. I want them to get a chance to see our school. And like I've said many times before, we show well. You know, we're a beautiful school. We have beautiful things happening. It's a, you know, it shows well, and it has the substance to back it up when we start talking about things having to do with education and graduates and things like that.
Thank you.
All right, faculty report.
Now that Julie's given hers, mine is heavily overlapping, but I just had a couple items. One was our professional development with Robin Brown that we had last Thursday. It was a lot of really useful information and timely, because we are just seeing a lot of children that need more practice, more movement, more balance activities. And today in staff meeting, we all kind of debriefed what things we had been trying in our classroom. And it was really nice to hear how many people had already started doing stuff and made connections with kids that have been kind of curious to them all year. So that was a really useful professional development. And I just wanted to celebrate that. And the other celebration is Lantern Walk, which has felt kind of like a slow build. And then here we are, it's tomorrow. So we were talking about it in staff meeting, and I was kind of hoping, do we have all the things? And everyone kind of has this, you know, we've been sidetracked in this other world for a year, and we didn't have a Lantern Walk like this last year. So it's like flexing a slow muscle, but we are excited about it. And it seems like everything's in order. So I want to celebrate that. And then the only other thing, which might not come as a shock, but something that Mr. Crawford said in staff meeting is, man, I am feeling as tired as a first year teacher. And every teacher twinkled. So I figured I would share that. I think maybe everybody, parents are feeling tired. The cold hit us and it's the dark, but it is a lot. And so just to share that.
All right. Well, there is no Jesse, so unless somebody else attended and wanted to convey anything. Oh, okay. Well, that was a goodbye wave, not a I will speak to that wave. So unless anybody else attended Parent Guild and had anything to say, I would just move beyond that. I'll give it just a second.
Well, I wanted to just, I know a little bit because I was at Parent Guild also, and Garden did a little greater than 17,000, I think, so far as they've tallied things. And I don't think she had tallied the pick. Why is that so hard to say for me? Pick, click, and pick, click, and give, I guess. Anyhow, so that I think was a great success, and we're very grateful to WPG for that. That's our teacher training money, and that's what, you know, lights the fire under everybody. It enkindles the flame for learning and growing teachers and all their knowledge.
Yeah, and I like to do, I have the automatic $10 monthly. That way, every year I already know I've done it. Highly suggest that. So then from there, budget report was moved. So committee reports, is there anything safety or outdoor play space to comment on?
Yeah, briefly, the safety report, we're continuing to do all of our required drills, our ASD drills, earthquake, fire, Alice, as they are supposed to be done each month, depending on the schedule. And that's going fine. Door locks, we had a repair person come through and repair all the door locks and everything, so all of our doors lock well and stay open when they need to and stay closed when they need to, and that's great. And then there's a contractor that's working on doing all the lighting repair and replacing ballasts that are out and things currently. So, and let there be light in this dark place. So that's just, little taste of, safety wise. We're another thing that probably good to mention is I have cones now. Everybody's probably, experienced them or run over them a few times in the middle, because we've witnessed so many fast driving people. I mean, it was like, I can't believe that nothing has happened so far, because it's really, we're just doing our thing, getting out of here, getting in here, running a little late or whatever. And I wanted to remind everybody the speed limit's 5, which is almost impossible to drive, but it is 5. So as close to 5 as you can, as you creep in here and creep out of here, because there are children all around. And just be mindful of cones and things and people that are helping to bring people in safely, and also gosh, what was that one? Oh, on your cell phone, it's a $500 fine to be on your cell phone in a school zone. So we've messaged that out and we will again in newsletters, but just for parents, beyond it being a finable offense, there's a lot going on during pickup. If everybody could just keep their phones down until they get to a place that doesn't have so many children, so many moving parts, that would be great. So safety report out. Play space, we are reviving our play space. We've had some little conversations about putting a date with Una, another new parent, and another parent that built our chicken coop. He said he'd be on the outdoor play space. So we're going to come together at some determined date and kind of review the initial grand plan, see what the next steps are, and as far as that goes. And then Sue's husband, I talked to him today, I think, and he is willing to do our ice rink, do our ice rink again this year. So we're going to get on that because it's cold enough, and we're really grateful for John Armstrong and his ice rink capabilities. So that's good.
Beautiful. The legislative policy would also normally be Jesse, who is not here. for grant committee. I have to admit that I was unable to get anything in on time, but as penance, I am all in on helping with promotion, which should it come to be successful, it will yield a lot more than the $500 that was available through ACF. Timing was just very poor for when that happened, and yeah, I'm more than happy to try and do things. And being with a media organization, I do have a certain degree of expertise in that realm. I'm happy to do that. So going to the final bit of business is 2021-22 calendar items. I don't know what that is in reference to. I apologize. I wasn't with Mark on creating that. Do you have additional information?
No, I don't. I think we were going to revisit calendar items such as the three-body meeting. That was probably one of the only calendar items that WCC has a direct, because WCC is the sort of hosting body for that three-body meeting. And so I guess we could talk a little bit about whether February, what was it, 18th? February 18th seemed like a reasonable date for WCC members. Anything was, it's the day after parent teacher conferences. So children are actually out of school that day, which may pose a problem. But, for some, we could see.
It's also it looks like it would be the day after WCC meeting as well.
It's Friday, isn't it? Yeah, it's a Friday. Yeah, it is after the day before is the WCC meeting.
Well, I'm okay to do a marathon if other folks are. I mean, for me, the lead time is always more important than the date itself. I can make a lot of stuff work with enough lead time. So I am fully open to that. And unless there's specific objections, I would feel comfortable saying move forward with that as a date for it. And I will set aside the entirety of that day.
Yeah,
This is
I
Sue.
Go
Oh,
ahead.
this is Sue. I
Go.
just, would there be a Zoom option? Or would it be a Zoom visit, or would it be in person, or do we want to, if we could keep it open to both options, if we're leaning towards being in person, if we could keep it, if we could have a Zoom option, that might be beneficial. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, especially since it's a Friday. So, we have
Some families might be out of town for that.
Thank you for that heads up, Sue.
I'll let Colleen know.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that may not be, it may not be a good day. I mean, it might be that we pick like a Thursday afternoon and use the teachers during that Thursday afternoon, because we have our faculty meeting from 1:30 to 4. So maybe we use that with the faculty during that time, and then we roll into more of an evening kind of, that wouldn't be three-body, but we could weigh on some things, and I don't know.
I always like to just use doodle polls with deadlines to respond, and then just choose based on what is most commonly responded to, because it can be so hard to just verbally coordinate between so many different individuals and factors and needs.
Is that Friday already a professional development day, or would that be? Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, I would say a doodle to everybody is probably the easiest option to gather, because there are a lot of folks who aren't on this call who would normally be too. It'd be great if they could be part of it.
Okay. So are you a doodle poll person? I mean,
Yes,
Survey Monkey
yeah,
is what okay.
if
Maybe
you
we can, you
sent,
and I can get together and we can, and set that
yeah,
up. or figure it
yeah,
out.
and really, if I just have the options that you want me to kind of pop into one, I do them all the time. So I would.
Okay, okay. All right, we'll talk. I'll make a little note of that.
Great. All right. So gratitude from anybody before we adjourn.
Gratitude for our teachers, for our parents, for our students that make this wonderful 17 years strong Winterberry Charter School go each day.
Definitely, I second that. Really appreciate everybody's efforts to keep this going, particularly the teachers and staff, and also really appreciate the budget wizardry, like making those numbers work with the down enrollment. I know that takes a lot of thought and crunching, so thanks for doing that.
This is Sue, and I have gratitude for that we're doing Lantern Walk tomorrow. I have my older grade kiddo she's excited that she's going to help, and I just think it's just such a nice time just to be out, even though it's going to be cold, and just singing, and it's just usually it's so beautiful. But I also have gratitude. Miss Gusser left, but my for her teaching and for the teaching of all of the teachers, as my graduate is deciding on what she's going to take next year for school, and she's trying to figure out how many sciences and how many maths she can take, because she just has she has found an ease with math and science that I know got cultivated here at Winterberry. So.
I have gratitude for my class. They are just, we were making our lanterns today. We're going to finish them tomorrow. And just given a project like that, they're just so amazing with helping each other and just busy little bees buzzing around and doing, they do really nice, thoughtful work.
I'll just chime in on that, Molly, that Drew was, she had all of us doing them at the table last night. So it was a lot of folding and crisscrossing. And I felt proud of myself actually for learning how to do it. So thank you for instilling that in her.
I feel grateful. It's consistent, but there are instances where it just kind of pops up more, where in conferences, I just realized to what degree I have a long-term relationship with the teachers, and they have the same with my kiddos, so we can reference what's been going on for years and where they're at now, and contrast how they've developed as people and learners and all those sorts of things. And I get so used to that I forget how uncommon that is. And it is really just nice that there's so much context and depth to the conversations that we get to have with the teachers of our kids, that wouldn't be possible without this model. So I feel really grateful for that. Well, all right. If folks are ready, need a motion to adjourn and a second, and then we can take this thing off YouTube and close it out for the evening.
I'll motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second.
Twinkles.
See you guys
All right.
tomorrow night.
Thank you.